So I have absolutely no idea how this video is going to do, but I've certainly been asked to do it more than a few times, and with Cam even calling me out with his apparent upcoming fantasy sci-fi tattoo video, I figured I might as well go ahead and go over my favorite to least favorite tattoos that are related to the sci-fi fantasy genre on my body. There's not that many, but there's more than a couple, and I might as well just cover all the ones that I have that are even not sci-fi fantasy related. And specifically the last two, I do straight up just regret, but there's funny stories behind them, so we'll talk about that when we get there. But if we're starting from favorite to least favorite, I think I have to start with my most recent being my favorite, and that would be the dragon that a lot of you do comment here on my arm. Not only is it my favorite because I think it's a spectacularly well done tattoo, the artist that Kayla found for us to get it done in Korea is just genuinely incredible, but the story behind it is pretty fun as well. I'm going to try to explain this the best I can, though Kayla does a better job than myself. Basically, if I'm understanding this right from what Kayla's told me, if you want to be a tattoo artist in Korea, the requirements are incredibly high, so there is a healthy network of underground tattoo artists who are incredibly talented, but not exactly legal. And so their shops are kind of hard to find, but while Kayla and I were in Korea, she was able to get in touch with a tattoo artist who has worked on her before and schedule us both to get tattoos while off on this adventure. And that's really a good time to get tattoos, in my opinion, when you're doing like a big life thing, so that way not only do you have a piece of art in your body you're a big fan of, but it's connected to a really special time. And so it was a no-brainer for me to go ahead and get something I've wanted, a dragon. And with how good this artist was on their Instagram and the work they had previously done, I basically just told them, hey, if you have any idea what like Wizard of Earthsea or Game of Thrones dragons are like, just run with that and put it on me. But a lot of people ask if it's a specific dragon. Not really. Dragons are just my favorite fantastical creatures, which I think they are for a large percentage of people, and the end result is something that exceeded my highest expectations. It's such a nice dragon, I feel like it's too nice to be on me. A lot of my tattoos are kind of trash. It is the one I'm most worried about how it's going to age though, because a lot of the work on it is really fine, and I'm gonna have to find an artist who can touch it up and deliver the level of delicate work that the artist in Korea did, and that is something that I will leave up to future Daniel. But the next one is kind of tied with favorite for several reasons. A friend of mine, Naomi King, is a tattoo artist, and the last time I visited, I basically just asked like, hey, can you do me? And this is specifically a design from my upcoming book, A Witch's Sin, the first book in Neon Ghosts. It's an emblem that the main character has emblazoned on their gun. And I got this not only because I think it's a really fun design, but also I wanted a piece done by one of my best friends. And on top of that, I wanted to have something from my own books. Maybe that's pretentious, maybe that's kind of corny, but I really like it. And no, it's not Bob the Skull from Dresden Files, though the emblazon on the gun for the character is supposed to be a reference to Bob the Skull. So if you're never going to read my book and you don't really care about that, you're welcome to say it's Bob the Skull with hard eyes. I don't really care. You can do that. But she did fabulous work, and I love the color in it. It's my only tattoo with color, though I'll never be getting a color tattoo again because I seem to have had an allergic reaction to the color ink. Did not affect the final product at all. I healed fine because I had to take some extra precautions to make sure it did, but that was a risk, and I'm not going to run it again. It's the white ink and purple ink together that I think really make it look cool. I guess we'll just go in reverse order because before that, I got the Lord of the Rings inscription from the One Ring emblazoned on my arm, because for many, many obvious reasons, that is possibly the second most influential fantasy series in my life. And I don't believe all your tattoos have to be filled with meaning. It's absolutely fine to just get something because you like the way it looks in yourself, and that's really why I got that. But in a bit of redundancy, I also got a little bit of Elvish here that specifically says goblin/orc, and if I have to explain why I got that, you're probably not that big a fan of the channel and don't care. And before that time, I actually got two tattoos at once by the same artist who did a really good job on one and not a very good job on the other. The one they unfortunately did not do a great job on is the zinc that's tattooed on my arm from Mistborn, which I had to essentially get redone by the same artist who did the One Ring inscription here. A lot of people ask me why zinc. One, I think it aesthetically is the coolest looking of the Mistborn symbols, but also two, my actual degree in history of education is in debate and and rhetoric, which I have always been of the opinion that a great rhetorician is not someone who is the most logical, not someone who is the best at debate, but someone who is able to affect others' emotions. Yes, in like strict competition, that's not necessarily the case, but the real world, if we've learned anything from the development of news and politics, it's more about just how confidently you say things rather than not you're right or wrong. But also, I'm just a very big fan of Sanderson's work, and it felt like a cool one to get. Not gonna try and justify it beyond that. And then on the back of my arm here, I actually got a chapter marker from The Wheel of Time, which is a reference to Tel Riyadh, aka the World of Dreams, which is maybe one of my favorite magical elements to any fantasy world ever. I absolutely adore the World of Dreams from The Wheel of Time. It's probably my top 3 world elements from that series as a whole, and if you know how important Wheel of Time is to me, you know that that's a big deal. Yeah, the one before this is a little bit embarrassing. You can update my wiki feet. I got a TIE fighter on my leg. It's a little bit wonky and it's not super well done. And the genuine actual reason I got it is not because of some great deep love for Star Wars, but the reason I got it is the sound design for the TIE fighter is my favorite piece of sound design in the history of cinema. Yes, even greater than the lightsaber itself. I think the TIE fighter is the coolest noise that has ever been put in a movie. It's so aggressive and impactful. You know exactly what it is after the first time you hear it. And the behind the scenes of how movies get made has been something I've been super passionate about since essentially I remember watching movies. So it was just for that reason I got that. One I regret a bit more than that. It's actually really beautiful and well done. I got it done when I was in Portugal, studying abroad in Ireland, but traveling around Europe, is this kind of geometric rose here on my arm. I think it's very beautifully done and it looks great. Unfortunately, it's a completely stolen design and I feel really bad about that. I was young and stupid and I was not sober with a friend overseas, and a tattoo artist who my friend was having work on her said, hey, do you want something done yourself? And I quickly found a design I liked online and was like, sure, put this on me, not realizing it's not original, it's stolen essentially, and I need to get it covered up. Yes, we're in the cover up territory, which I will get done one day. So while I think this one looks great, it also does not fit the theme of the rest of my tattoos. It's stolen and it was a mistake to have put on me. And the last one was actually my first tattoo, and it's the one I regret the most. I got it when I was in high school, before I was 18, and yeah, that means I had to have parental permission for it. Now, do not get me wrong. I love my mom. My mom is the reason I believe people can overcome so much, and she is one of the strongest and most intelligent people I know in my entire life. But Mom, why in the hell did you let me get the symbol for atheism tattooed on me when I was 16-year-old edgelord in high school? You dropped the ball there a little bit, Ma. I was the coolest kid in my high school for about a day when I had this done, but aside from that, I regret every little bit of it. Not only do I not classify myself as an atheist anymore, this symbol has changed meaning and evolved a lot over the years, or even just been forgotten. I'm not entirely sure. My little additions that I put into it with a friend of mine of like having the DNA falling apart and the t coming off the end, I think look really dumb. And my next tattoo is probably going to be a piece that covers both this one and the one going down my arm. The problem is it's thick black lines, so getting that covered up's not going to be super easy. I'm tempted to have it transformed into the symbol from Star Trek. I'm agnostic, but forever I will be reminded that I was once an edgy 16-year-old who thought I knew everything. I guess it's a good reminder that you'll always learn and you never know it all. I just realized I have one more on my chest, and that's going to be the solar system. I completely forgot this was there until I just did one last check of my body. I'm a huge space nerd. I don't think this one looks particularly good. A friend of mine, Noah, who has been on the channel and I run my second channel with, The Discussion, helped me design it. It's not to scale remotely at all. Like, I understand you can't really have a to scale solar system on your body, but like planets are bigger than other planets they shouldn't be bigger in, so it's just not even coming close. And this one as well I'll have covered up eventually. Weird thing though, just because I'm planning on having a tattoo covered up doesn't mean I actually regret necessarily getting it. It was a chapter marker from that point in my life. Haha, literally. And some of them have been really fun stories that I'm kind of tired of telling, but were good while they lasted. So I'm very pro tattoo. I think they look great, especially on older people. You take proper care of them, and it most of the time just tells me that person's probably got some stories and personality I want to hear, or at at least ask them the story behind the tattoo itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, there are 9 total, and I only regret 3. The rest I'm really happy with, and I encourage other people to get fantasy series related tattoos, because if you've noticed, the ones that are actually related to series that I really love or have strong emotional attachment to aren't the ones I regret. And I actually think it's totally okay to get one based off a franchise, unless it's Star Wars and you're really into the sound design of it. And hopefully that answers the question of people asking me to go over all of my tattoos until I inevitably get another one, but I'll just post it on social media with context, I guess. I'm gonna end this by saying huge thank you to everyone who showed up and made the Audible video such a hit here on the channel and has talked about how they're gonna be canceling their subscriptions or trying out other services. I'm not trying to guilt anyone into doing that with Audible. As someone who has a very big passion and love for the indie author community, knowing that people seem to really care about how they're treated within the industry, I almost feel kind of bad, because I should have made that video way sooner, and I shouldn't have had to have been like reminded to do it by what Sanderson did. I just assumed everyone knew those percentages, but obviously they didn't. I'm an idiot if you can't tell by all the regrettable tattoos. So really just thank you for reminding me that the community here is really passionate about the creatives who allow it to exist. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.